Dump truck disaster. Tragedy in South Provo after an accident involving a viaduct and a dump truck.
Hungry horses. Animal cruelty charges stare down a mother and son after police discovered something disturbing.
And saving suckerfish. See how officials are protecting one fish species at the expense of another. I'm Kristen Firmage.
And I'm Karen Sullivan. It's Wednesday, February 20th, and in Utah, it's 12 o'clock.
From KBYU and the BYU Department of Communications. This is the award-winning 11 News at noon.
The driver of a dump truck that ran off the University Avenue overpass has died from his injuries. The dump truck swerved onto oncoming traffic around 2 p.m. yesterday and then hit the barrier of the bridge on University Avenue, flipping over and falling about 30 feet. Authorities don't know what caused the driver to veer into traffic, but the accident caused delays on University Avenue for several hours. Police haven't yet released the driver's name.
A Utah County mother and son face more than 100 counts of animal cruelty after authorities found dozens of starving horses at their ranches. This police video shows what the sheriff's office found. More than 100 animals they say are suffering from malnutrition. Several of the animals were already dead, and we've chosen not to show you that video. The horses were on ranches in Mapleton, Spanish Fork, and up Spanish Fork Canyon. Sheriff Jim Tracy called it the most severe instance of animal neglect he'd ever seen. Deputies took the ranch owner Trudy Childs and her adult son Cody Childs into custody. They are now free on bond. Their attorney says the Childs love their horses but are stuck in a lawsuit that makes it hard for them to care for their animals. The sheriff's office is working with the South Utah Valley Animal Shelter to care for the horses. Police arrested a Provo man after they say they found more than $400,000 worth of marijuana in his home. This picture shows 135 plants police say they found growing in the basement of 29-year-old Jordan Cook. Neighbors reported suspicious activity which led police to the home. The arrest report says Cook told them he uses the marijuana for medical reasons.
Some BYU students who get military funding may lose that stipend if BYU doesn't sign off on a new military document. It's called a Memorandum of Understanding, and while BYU Idaho and BYU Hawaii have already signed off, Provo officials say they have certain concerns with new program requirements, but university administrators won't elaborate on which specifics cause uncertainty. Students who rely on the yearly funding of more than $4,000 say they worry they won't get the money that helps pay their tuition. Fire investigators are saying the metal shop fire earlier this month in Linden was an accident. Investigators found that wood and cardboard boxes placed too close to space heaters were the cause of the flames. Police say they originally suspected space heaters because it's common to leave them running all day and night in warehouses during the winter months.
The Hale Center Theater in West Valley is asking Utah's legislature for $2 million to help them expand. The theater says it would be part of a $65 million upgrade that would add 2 stages and nearly triple its current capacity. Hale officials are discussing if they want to expand in West Valley City or in Sandy. A state legislator says his proposal to move the Utah State Prison from Draper could create 40,000 jobs and $20 billion in tax revenue. A state committee hearing discussed revisions to Republican Scott Jenkins' bill and heard from its first public critics. They say the move is too expensive, but Jenkins says developing the valuable South Valley land would more than make up the cost. The committee hearing ran out of time before taking a vote on the proposal.
Utah Lake is frozen over, but it hides chaos below the ice. 11 News reporter Scott Gardner shows us a native fish on the verge of extinction.
The introduction of carp to Utah Lake has overrun the June sucker population and put them on the endangered species list. The government joined forces with environmentalists in order to save them. The June suckerfish is only native to Utah Lake, which carp have taken control of. They eat all the food and leave little for the June sucker, causing them to become endangered as carp populations rise.
They're just an invasive, they're so overpowering.
A coalition of environmental interest groups determined that the best way to recover the June sucker is to remove the carp infestation. The groups donated resources to pull tons of carp out of the water, even through the ice.
Winter hauls are definitely the best because they're real docile when they get cold. You got good hauls and you got bad hauls. Like, this is a pretty decent haul. This is probably got like roughly 16, 20 ton a day.
Since winter fishing is more of a sucker recovery project, these fishermen developed a few tricks to get under the ice.
We use seine nets, and we drill holes in the route that we're going to pull the net, and we use submarines to pull the rope through the ice.
The net gathers June suckers as well as carp, so the fishermen sort through them by hand before shipping the carp out.
Right now they go to mink farms or they go to different fertilizer plants.
The recovery project reports an increase in June sucker population, and fishermen say the fishing in Utah Lake has gotten much better since the removal project started. Officials estimate that for the June sucker recovery program to be successful, they must remove 5 million pounds of carp every year. That's almost 7 tons of carp a day. Karen and Kristen?
When 11 News at noon returns, Kansas City blaze. A massive explosion leaves several injured and at least one dead in Missouri.
And free fitness. Personal trainers on BYU campus are helping you work out for free. Stick around. A gigantic gas explosion leaves one dead in Missouri. The competition between Office Max and Office Depot is over, and a plane in Georgia veers off the runway. Here's your look at news from across the nation. Authorities pulled a body from the wreckage of a fire at a restaurant in Kansas City, Missouri. Officials say a natural gas leak caused the explosion that took JJ's restaurant to the ground. The blast injured 15 people, putting 3 in critical condition. Search crews have not identified if the body found in the 3 feet of rubble was the missing woman. She was an employee at the restaurant. 2 mega office supply stores unite as Office Depot is buying Office Max. The companies will merge their stocks, resulting in a more than $1 billion stock transfer. Both companies face pressure from investors to boost their sagging shares. They hope that combining stocks will also increase profits as they compete against market leader Staples. An airplane passengers arriving in Savannah, Georgia had a rough landing as a plane slid off the runway and into the grass. Passengers say they were thrown into the seat in front of them. Authorities say that the pilot overcorrected, tossing the plane into a field instead of on the runway. No one was seriously hurt, and passengers returned to the airport in buses. And that's your look at news from across the nation. Karen?
Sticking to an exercise schedule can seem like a daunting task, especially on your own. 11 News reporter Katie Junker shows us how BYU's Student Fitness Center can give a helping hand to those looking to maximize their workout.
Private personal trainers are expensive, but can be an important part of your exercise routine. The BYU Student Fitness Center found a solution by having students train other students for free. Exercise and wellness majors can do their internship at the Student Fitness Center as personal trainers.
With 6 interns, the Student Wellness Program plans to have spaces open for all BYU students' hectic schedules. They want each student to be able to be trained by a trainer.
The interns create a routine that works best for each person's personal fitness goals. Trainers say one of the biggest problems is that most people do not know how to use the weight machines correctly, causing for more pain than muscle gain.
The most important thing that I try and focus on is having the right form. Even if you have to lift less weight, if you're doing it right, it's going to have better benefits for you and you're going to have less likely chance of hurting yourself later on.
Trainers say their goal is to help their clients learn how to create long-term habits.
These are life skills that people need to incorporate, and it's not trying to be the biggest, fastest, or strongest, but it's a matter of maintaining a certain degree of physical health.
Hall also says it is extremely important to learn how to properly schedule your time so you're able to hit the gym a few times a week. On the BYU campus, Katie Junker, 11 News.
Anyone with a BYU ID who wants to work up a sweat can sign up for a free personal training session. To find the link, click on Katie's story on our website at 11news.byu.edu.
Well, it was a nice day out today, Brenna, and it looks really nice outside right now.
But didn't you say there was going to be some snow?
You know what, you're right. We didn't see rain or snow in Provo, but the storm has definitely hit in other parts of the state, just as we expected. I'll give you the snow reports, winter advisories, and live looks at where the rain and snow hit when your 11 weather forecast.
Winter snow this year has not just hit the streets, but Salt Lake City's pockets as well. The city spent $600,000 more than they planned for snow removal expenses. City crews guess the total will run more than $1 million by the end of the season. The Salt Lake City Council is trying to figure out how they're going to pay for the snow removal costs.
but it was pretty warm out this morning, almost spring-like conditions, just barely cloudy in Provo, and if you look outside, it was just clear and nice and warm, 34 degrees, average humidity, low wind speed, not a bad morning considering. We should have some flurries later on today, so don't get too used to it, but everyone was asking, hey, where was that rain and snow that was supposed to pummel Provo? Well, it actually didn't hit Provo, it hit in other parts of the state. Let me show you a look in St. George. This is in southern Utah on the I-15 just outside of Hurricane. You can see they just saw this rain this morning. The roads are wet, people are making their commute, and that red rock is doused. This is up the road in Beaver. That's where the storm is right now, that Beaver-Fillmore area. They're seeing some rain and some sleet on the roads as people try to make that commute. Further north up the road, we see just south of American Fork, we see that there's no snow or no rain, but you see some clouds. It's coming up that way. This is American Fork Center Street. You can see that there's nothing going on right now, but that's the direction that this storm is heading, and it's going to hit in the next couple of hours, maybe even over into tonight. These are the storm warnings, the winter storm warnings that we're seeing around the state right now, and you can almost see where the storm is coming from. If you look in the southern part of the state, this pink area is where the winter storm warning is, and it's covering this whole area down here, probably some rain in here, and then snow from Cedar City up into Manti. And then in the northern part of the state, that's where the winter weather advisory is. They say advisory because we're not going to get a whole lot of snow, probably only like an inch or an inch and a half, but we will see some warmer temperatures, which means some sleet, maybe some bad driving conditions. So be aware, this is all a winter weather advisory because it could get yucky in the next couple of days. Speaking of this, coming up next Thursday, that's where they're going to see some wind in southern Utah. It's raining right now, and it should move on and get out of the way by the end of tonight. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday should all be clear in the 50s, lows in the 30s, but it will be pretty windy down there as that winter wind from the west coast starts moving in towards them. Their temperatures should stay pretty consistent though. Northern Utah, today's the day we're going to see some snow. We have about a 70 to 60% chance of snow. It's actually going down as the day goes on, so we might just turn into some flurries. Thursday, we also have a chance of snow, more like 20 or 30%. Friday should be a clear day, and it comes back in on Saturday for another wave. Again, only a 30 or 40% chance of snow as the week goes on. Sunday, we shouldn't see too much. But actually, we're not seeing a whole lot of snow in the valleys, but I'll tell you, the mountains, the upper part, are actually seeing like 1 to 2 feet from the storm. So skiing is going to be great for now.
Well, good. But don't get too excited for spring to come. Is that what you're telling us?
No, I'm sorry. Hold on a little longer.
Okay.
Well, thanks, Brenna. AJ, I know there was a game last night, and the reason I know that is because I had trouble parking by the Marriott Center yesterday.
So how'd it go?
Absolutely right. There may not be precipitation on the ground right now, but they were making it rain in the Marriott Center last night. From back burner to barn burner, a rescheduled game with Utah State turns into the season's most exciting finish. And the Jazz mine gold. Utah was the team that shined last night as they welcomed the Golden State Warriors to Salt Lake City. Sports is next. Keep it locked.
Excuse me.
Oh, don't.
Difficulties real quick.
You could switch to an anchor.
Game heroics last night in the rescheduled game made it clear that the delay was worth the wait.
That's right, the Marriott Center was rocking last night as the old rival came to Provo. The Cougars wasted no time pouncing on the visitors as Brandon Davies goes to work. And if you let him get the ball that deep, you're going to have a better time finding no lines at Cafe Rio. Then the Cougars forced the turnover, which leads to a BYU fast break with Brock Zylstra rocking the rim. Brock's pretty excited, but not as excited as Little Miss Sunshine. Get down with your bad self, girl. But the Aggies continued to respond with great ball movement as they kick it out to Spencer Butterfield, who hits the corner three. The Aggies would go on to tie the ball game, and with 15 seconds left on the clock, Matt Carlino drives the lane, puts up the runner, which falls just a bit short, but Craig Cusick is there for the putback and the bucket to put BYU up by 2. The horn sound and the Cougars go wild. There would be 0.2 seconds left on the clock for a Utah State Hail Mary, but the hero of the night had already been sealed. The Cougars go on to win a wild one, 70-68. And last night was not just about basketball, as BYU linebacker Kyle Van Noy was awarded the College Football Performance Award for Defensive Player of the Year at halftime. It was a special moment for the junior as Cougar fans gave him a standing ovation and were surely salivating over the prospect of his senior season back in Cougar Blue. And the NBA returned to action after their All-Star break. Oh, and apparently it was Michael Jordan's birthday or something. But anyway, the Jazz returned to work and welcomed one of the surprises of the season, the Golden State Warriors. Roll the tape. It was good to see Gordon Hayward back on the bench after missing 10 games, and the Jazz picked up with their winning ways as Alex Burke gets into the paint, and as my man Craig Bolajak likes to say, goes Houdini and scores. Then Gordon Hayward gets involved with a turnaround, Jay, proving that you can take the kid out of the game, but not the game out of the kid. The Jazz kept up the lead throughout the second half, paced again by the big fundamental Al Jefferson. He might not be flashy, but the dude can get buckets. The Jazz with a workmanlike win over the Warriors, 115-101. Now we jump straight to the Barclays Center with the Bucks at the Nets. Larry Sanders puts back the tip and says, "Hello, Brooklyn, how you doing?" Nets are down 3, and so they look to Joe Johnson, who hits the 3 to send this thing into overtime. And with Jay-Z in the audience, Joe Johnson decides to give him an encore. Do you want more? One more time, we need you to score. Nets win 113-111 in a wild one. Anyone who has watched college basketball this season can tell you it's been one of the most unpredictable seasons in recent memory. But one thing that has been consistent throughout the season is the quality of the play in the Big Ten. So all eyes were on East Lansing last night as the #1 Indiana Hoosiers paid a visit to the Michigan State Spartans. The game quickly turned into the Victor Oladipo show as he picks off the pass, then makes his way to the end of the floor for the flush. Then with less than a minute left, Oladipo slips behind the defense and reminds the world why he's the front runner for National Player of the Year. To the chagrin of Sparty Nation and Magic Johnson, who was in the house, the Michigan State Spartans fall to the Hoosiers 68-72, and the Hoosiers win for the first time in the Breslin Center since 1991. And last but certainly not least, when it comes to sports stories, we all know that it's cool to see a human dunk, but it's a lot cooler to see an animal dunk a basketball. So if you haven't seen it yet, you oughter check it out. Meet Eddie the Otter, the Portland-based sea mammal who is making LaMarcus Aldridge and PB&J Otter jealous with his post moves. Throw it down, young Otter. The 16-year-old picked up the game after vets discovered he had arthritis, and he's been playing pickup ball ever since. Well, that's just about as adorable as it gets, isn't it?
That's the cutest thing I've ever seen.
So why did that help his arthritis?
Apparently it was the only way to get his elbows to move in the way that they wanted him to, but he looks good playing some balls.
Well, yeah, thanks, AJ.
You bet.
Still to come at 11 News at noon, reading program. See how our Provo 7-Eleven is getting kids excited to read.
Most people head to convenience stores to buy snacks and gas, but one 7-Eleven in Provo is acting more like a public library. 11 News reporter Lucy Tingy tells us how this store owner got his unique idea for helping kids in the community get more excited about reading.
Little Tiffany Lyon and her mom stopped by 7-Eleven for a quick snack, but left with something unexpected. Tiffany's mom says getting a free book means they'll be coming back for more.
I feel really good about it because that way it teaches the kids how to read more and to learn more about life.
This 7-Eleven on 300 West is giving away free Slurpees or other snacks as incentive for kids to read. Store owner Todd Hansen says his love for the community gave him the idea for the mini library.
Actually, I've always been involved in the community, so I just called up United Way and asked them if I could, what it was that I could do to be a part of the community in South Provo.
All of these books you see here were delivered free in boxes like these to this 7-Eleven through United Way's program.
Kids can even bring the books they've read back to exchange for others. Hansen says it's about more than just free stuff.
If I can just get more people reading, people excited about reading books, if I can get parents to engage with the children about reading books.
So far it seems to be working. They've already given away about 500 books in the last 2 weeks. Hansen says they may start a section for older kids as well, but for Tiffany, the book and balloon are a perfect reward. In Provo, Lucy Tingy, 11 News.
So, free books and a free Slurpee.
Sounds like a pretty good deal to me. I'd drink a Slurpee and read a book.
Just don't spill the Slurpee on the book. That would not be a good idea.
It's my two favorite things, books and Slurpees. That's what I always say.
It's really neat to see the community coming out and helping kids learn to read, because I think that's really awesome.
I think it's a great idea.
Definitely.
Well, that's it for 11 News at noon for Wednesday, February 20th.
You can join us anytime on our website, 11news.byu.edu.
Thanks for watching and have a great afternoon.